why would anybody find this interesting? It's complete mythology. In the 21st century, what space is there for mythology? We do technology, we do everything, well, mostly Newtonian physics, or, you know, if we're going to get weird, then let's do the little bits. But, you know, why something like the tarot, that's like the haven of the hippies, the new ages, the flowery bollocks? Why could that be interesting? I think I've got a reason. So, okay, like little bit of history. The cards came from China, like everything else came from China. Cards came from China on silk, and you know, and they also like used to do things on card-like things. You know, maybe 11th, 10th even century games. And they put coins on them, so instead of having actual coins on the table, you could have coins on the card. So you weren't actually gambling, you were using just a drawing of a coin. So, and that's the card set as your pack of cards normal. And that went down through, from China down through the Arab thing. And in about probably 13th century, it spread around North Africa, Southern Europe, and, you know, the cards. And then in the 15th century, in the period like the late medieval, early Renaissance, you get the things where you've got the courts and the principalities in Italy. That was a really big one in this history. And they had, I might go back a few hundred years, but about 1450-ish, you know, give or take 10 years. This lot, let me find you a good card, something like that. And these were like hand painted for a wedding. And what they'd done, like on top of your regular playing cards, they'd added some trumps, triumphs, the winners. So in these card games, the card games got bloody complicated, I guess. And you could like put a card down. And so my Pope beats anything. And they're like some beautiful, beautiful hand-drawn things. These ones I've got here, Visconti things. Let me find a good one. Oh, there you go. Like they're beautiful. Good, like hand-drawn things, giving us presents. And in this particular pack, this Visconti pack, apparently the lovers, the card of the lovers was made for the Visconti marriage. Like there were like a couple of kids in this Visconti marriage, bloody 15-year-olds or something, medieval Europe. But this thing goes through, you've got this weird shit from China via the Middle East coming down through. And then you've got these things, and a lot of these, you should see some of the, there's a beautiful one here. The kind of imagery that was not, the allegory and the imagery that was knocking around at the time. Like late 13th, early 15th, early 14th century, like, well, that kind of period. 15th century, call it. Give them a break, 15th century. These things, some of these, the fool in this pack here, this Visconti pack, is taken straight off. Well, either it's a direct rip-off, or the artist Giotto, Bodone di Giotto? Giotto did a thing in Padua, and it's exactly the same image. And either they both have the same source, or, and a lot of these, I think they were used for teaching purposes as well. So you've got all this, the major arcana, as it's called. That's a new word. Arcana only arrived in it. Arcana, yeah, it's recent. 19th something. Now, keep going. So, the music gets me sometimes. Crack rock. Anyway, so this spreads over Europe, and then in the 18th century, some fuckers start using it for fortune telling. So you go, whap! That is the current situation. That's the, what's a nice one, interesting one. The Queen of Pentacles or something. And what's the problem? But it was never ever. I personally think that a lot of it was used in the courts, in Italian courts, like the Firenze, the time of the principalities. Sort of like educational, because people couldn't read. Come on, people couldn't read. But you can read something when you see something like that, and somebody tells you a story about it. You can understand it. You don't need to read. You can verbal history or whatever. It's quite sweet, and I think this particular pack of cards were sent for a wedding and this Visconti thing. And in recent years, like go back to maybe 18th century, 19th century, something like that. It shifted across, and it swept across Europe, these tarot cards. And then you get the things, these are absolutely beautiful artworks. The Marseille style ones, really crude, but absolutely beautiful in the crudeness, like woodcut. And this spread across Europe. And then later, weird fuckers in France, Genel, I think his name was, and then Eclat, a guy who spelt his name backwards. It was pseudo-mystics who were just hustlers, really, just doing fortune telling. That's when there's no real record of fortune telling with tarot cards before about the 18th century. It just wasn't there. You know, all this bollocks about it being not there. But so it went through the weirdo French people and and it went through the tarot that's made by Wade. Really nice drawings. But I mean, a lot of these. Just going back a second, I would say, you know, a lot of these are prints of the Solabusca, and the pictures of the mostly the last days of Rome, and they used to do things like the 4 virtues, or the 7 sins, or the 4 last things known to man, which is called I should know the name for that. The 4 last things. This is a Christian thing. The 4 last things for humanity. Anyway, so that the imagery and the allegory. Somewhere here, in these Solabusca ones, there's the guy, not Hannibal, Greek legends and all this kind of shit. But why I see it as interesting is because, okay, these were allegories for the 15th century court in Milan or wherever. And yet, when it has a utility. You know, when I do this, that's the current situation. And what there's a concept associated with that card, which I'll have to look up. Let's say, well, it's the 9 of Cups upside down. That's probably, my milkmaid ran away with somebody. And I think to myself, oh, how does that work with me? And then what's blocking it? Oh, that's quite a good one. Shit, I can't remember what year is this. I think I might have got the Empress there. The Empress. So my girlfriend, wherever she is, but there's also the position. So each of these positions has a meaning. So what you're doing is, each card's got a meaning with it, a conceptual meaning, if ever there was. Not, well, I've got justice. And what it makes you do, people are really good at making patterns. I mean, it's very popularised the way that you can make, in the tech community anyway, that you can, people are very good at making patterns. Tarot cards make patterns. So, you can really associate with, like, I got the justice. You associate with it. You know, you think, oh yeah. And then you've got the conjunction with the position. Oh, the position means just so. Like this means, I think this means something like resources down here in this particular spread, this layout. Resources, so I've got justice as my layout, and like you're trying to fire three concepts together. But more than three concepts, and you've got the visualization of that, and it's, it's really for a way of thinking about things, and sort of like, just, and I'm quite prepared to accept that you might be able to predict the future through them, because if you think it through, then maybe you get it right. That's how it is going to be. But they always say that, it's just now. This is now. And then you deal it again. Let me just reiterate, I don't believe in anything paranormal or anything about the cards. But I think they're a very useful tool for thinking about stuff, because it provokes thought, which I think is very useful. And I didn't. These were archetypes of the 15th century court to play games with. Snap. Right, death. Oh no, Page of Cups beats game cards, that's all. So it's appreciated, this kind of, but I think it's, conceptually, I think it's a really good thing, and a useful thing to play with. And also, I really like the pictures. Where is that fool? Really nice pictures. Even the Marseille pack. Come on, look at that. Brilliant. So, I think it's a useful tool, a useful thinking tool, put it that way. And the history, you've got the art history, and, pretty cards. So that's my take on the tarot. Switch stuff on there, so.